Hello guys, my name is Suleiman Adadu and you are welcome to Creative Spark. On today's lesson, I'll be taking you through some basics of Photoshop and we'll be covering how to create a new canvas, the configuration of a new canvas, and we'll also talk about the standard sizes used by some social media platforms. So without plenty talks, let's dive into it. So for some of you, you must understand that if it is your first time launching Photoshop, you won't find this stuff here, and so it will be a rectangle indicating drag and drop there, something like that. So in order to create a new document or an artboard, you can also call it a canvas. So for the purpose of this tutorial, pardon me if I use them interchangeably. So first of all, click on new file. You have this menu pop up. It's the new document menu. So you have something like this. So for me, I like to name my documents. So it is not a compulsory thing to do. So it's just something I like doing. So and this is where the configuration takes place. So this is what you should take note of. This is where the configuration takes place. This side is for preset sizes, like sizes that have already been made. So yeah, for some social media sizes, A4 sizes, those side, and then art and illustration sizes, you will be working with that side. But most of the times you'll be working here. This is where the configuration takes place. This is where you manipulate the sizes to your liking. So first of all, I'll change this to my new document. I'll just rename it Spark, SPAK, so that's Spark for me, and I'll maintain the width at 1080, the height to at 1080. You must take note that if it's your first time of launching Photoshop, this unit here, which is pixel, you can see that there's an upside down arrow. If you click on it, there are some other units here. Yours might be in inches, so you simply change it to pixels before changing your width and then the height to 1080. The reason is, as a designer, most of the time you'll be working on flyers that will end up being used on screens. So that's why you have to work with the pixels. The next thing you do, we just leave this at the resolution at 72, and over here is the orientation, whether you want it to be in a portrait form or a landscape. So because we have both the width and then the height to be the same dimension, you can't have any changes here. Realize that no matter how many times I click on this side, it doesn't change, because 1080 by 1080 is basically a square. Just by the side of the orientation is the artboards, so you can click or uncheck it, but for now let's leave it unchecked. I'll come back to explain what this is. So for the rest of the stuff here, you just leave them as they are. And here is the color mode. Let me talk about it a little. Color mode is basically about RGB color and then CMYK. So for RGB color, it's good for screens, flyers that will be shown on screens like laptops, TVs, and what have you. And with the RGB color, we also have the CMYK and other formats in which you can display your flyers. So CMYK is for printing. So basically these are the two you'll be working with most times. Grayscale, it's when you are working in black and white. So, and you will barely use this format. So the RGB and the CMYK will be the two formats you'll be working with, but most of the times you'll be working with RGB color. CMYK is for printing, RGB is for screens. Thank you. Here this one is for the color of your canvas, whether you want it to be white, black background, what have you, transparent, or you can customize it. So over here is the rectangle. You can customize it to any color you want, either red or blue, any color of your choice, but I'll just simply leave it as white. And I'll come down to my color profile, and here at color profile, I'll just change this to working RGB. And sure, it's usually at working RGB. That's the end. Either at working RGB or sRGB, what, those other writings there. Yeah, leave everything as they are, and then create. Simply click on create. Voila, and we have our single document here. Yeah, like we selected, we left the background color as white, and it's in a form of a square because we chose 1080 by 1080. So now that's basically how to create a new document after launching Photoshop. What happens when you've already what do you do when you want to create a new document after you have already created a new document? So there are two ways, basically, for the purpose of this tutorial. There are two ways of doing that. You can either use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl+N to create a new document, or go to File, which is found at the top left corner over there. Click on File, you see New at the top. You can see that its shortcut is what tagged on it. So you simply click on New, and the new document menu will pop up. Yeah, so we'll talk about, let me simply rename this as maybe SGH. I like to name my documents, but it's optional. We'll leave the rest as they are, but I want to talk about the artboards. So now sometimes you can be given a project where you have to work with multiple artboards, and they are all related to the same thing, and you won't want to create new documents over and over again. So the best thing to do is click on Artboards. Artboards allows you to create multiple documents on the same interface that you are working, and not have to be jumping from one page to another page to another page. I'll still explain the jumping from one page to another page thing. So yeah, the color profile, I told you can simply leave it as sRGB or working RGB. So I'll click on create. Now you realize that this has been changed to artboard. It means we cannot create multiple artboards at this juncture. So in order to create multiple artboard, I'll simply zoom out, and with the zoom out, you can press Ctrl Alt plus spacebar, and then you have your zoom tool appear. Or you go to this panel, you'll find the zoom tool at the bottom there. You simply click on it, then you come to this panel here, this bar here. You'll find the maximize and then the minimizing zoom tool. So because I'll be zooming, I'll simply use the minimize, the one with the minus sign, and I'll click anywhere in the interface. But because I want it to be zoomed on the artboard, to zoom out on the artboard, and the artboard will still remain in frame, I'll have to ensure that I click within the artboard. I think this is too much. I'll simply just do this, and then with the help of the scroll bars, I'll rearrange it. Something like this, leaving more space for other artboards. So I'll go to, in order to add the other artboards, you have to go to Move Tool. This is the Move Tool. You right click on it, you choose Artboard tool. So if you don't want to go through that stress, you can simply use the keyboard shortcut Shift+V. Shift+V. So when you are done, you realize that the icon changes from the plus with arrow signs on it into this particular shape. This is the Artboard tool. Now with it, I'll just simply click and drag to any shape of my liking, of my interest. Then I think this is okay for me. Or I'll make sure that it's also 1080 by 8. Something like this. You have another artboard, and if you want to add another artboard of the same size, you can simply click on the plus sign here. If you want it to be at the bottom, you click down. Okay, you simply just repeat the process. So when I'm done, you realize that some of the artboards are out of frame. You can press the keyboard shortcut Ctrl+0, or you go back to your if I simply click on Ctrl+0, it will bring all of them in frame. Or you could have gone back for your maximum the zoom tool, and then zoom out, zoom in on them, and then reposition them. So I think this is too much. I'll just simply minimize the frame in which they are. So you can do this by using the zoom tool. Once again, you click on the zoom tool, then choosing the minimize, I'll zoom them out. So now we have our artboards. Once I'm done, I have to change the artboard tool to what, move tool. So you can simply use the keyboard shortcut Shift plus V, and it will change it to what, the plus with the arrows at the ends. So now we have something like this. So these are the artboards, as simple as that. What was I talking about when I was talking about jumping from one document to another? Something like this. You realize that this is an interface on its own. This is also an interface. So a situation where you are required to create multiple designs that are related to each other, and you have to now create about 1, 2, 3, 6 of them, meaning you have to be jumping from one to one, and it's stressful. So that is why it's advisable to use the artboards. Yeah, once I think this is okay for the creation of new document. If you have any question on that, you can simply ask in the comment section. Or yeah, the next thing we'll be talking about is standard sizes for certain platforms. Now, for social media platforms, they work with grids that allows for users to not use too much data. It creates uniformity and also ensures that you don't get to consume too much data on a particular file size. So they work with a standard size, and also, yeah, with the standard size, it allows for it to fit perfectly in a grid. They work with grid. If you work with a standard size, it perfectly fits whatever information you are working with, will perfectly fit in the frames of the grid. So that is why it is what advisable to work with the standard size of each social media platforms. But for some like Instagram, Facebook, yeah, those social media platforms, because they are related, Instagram and Facebook are both coordinated by Meta. They work with the same grades. So you find yourself working with, let me simply just type them down here. You work with let me so these are the standard sizes for both Instagram and Facebook, and this works perfectly. Pardon me, let me simply change the X to small x. So this side is the width. I'm coming. This first part is the width, and this side is the height. So for Instagram, if you want to work with a square based flyer, you need to work with 1080 by 1080. It ensures that even after they compress, the social media platform compresses the file size, the quality of the flyer still, yeah, it remains at a point where it's still visible, and then the quality looks almost unchanged. And so for square sized flyers, you mostly work with 1080 by 1080, and for portrait size, where the height is longer than bigger than the width. So we have something like this. The height is longer than the width. So here's the width and here's the height. We have 1080 by 1350. So basically, you most times work with these sizes, but for some you can adjust them as you like. For platforms like WhatsApp and I think X, they accept almost all sizes, but you need to ensure that if you are in doubt of the standard sizes used by any social media platforms, you simply go on the web and search for it. Another thing maybe you might need is as a designer is the YouTube thumbnail. And for that one, let me simply duplicate this. Sorry. So for YouTube, you most time work with this. You most time work with this. This is the width, this is the height. So basically, the width is longer than the height in this case, because thumbnails are usually rectangular in shape. And yeah, in order not to go through the stress of having to type for the YouTube, some sizes like the A4 sizes, I'll simply go back to the new document menu. I'll go back to the new document menu, and I was talking about the preset size. This size involves sizes that have already been made, and then sizes that are common in the industry of print, industry of design and whatnot, and then the industry of cinema. So over here you have photo. You realize that there are some standard photo sizes here. These are in inches. We have portraits, we have landscape and whatnot. And most of the time, whenever you have to work with something, you work with some of the print side. And in the print side, we have A4, A5, A3. These are some of the sizes you'll be using. And for art and illustration, if you are not a digital artist, you will barely use these ones. There's the web, like the websites and whatnot. We have the mobile sizes. If you want to create a mock-up, if you want to create a design that is supposed to be fitted on an Apple Watch screen, you have to choose this. A design that is supposed to be fitted on an iPad Pro. So the concept here is to fit perfectly into it. That is what these sizes are meant for. And then the film and video, I was talking about 1280 by 720. This is the thumbnail size for YouTube. And yeah, for some of these sizes, if you want to confirm, you simply go on the web and then search for them. And thank you for your time, and let me know if I didn't do justice to maybe something you have in mind. Thanks very much for staying in tune, and please subscribe to my channel and then hit the notification button for more videos from me. Bye.